The Insight Views. In the dense jungles of Costa Rica, atop a mountain that pierced the sky, stood a mansion unlike any other. Its name was Barakayan. A sprawling 50,000 square foot structure, it defied conventional architecture, a conical concrete and granite edifice with no walls, no windows, just open spaces that embraced the jungle's sounds and sights. It was a sanctuary, a dream realized by John and Ann Bender, an American couple who sought solace and purpose far from the bustling streets of Wall Street. But paradise, as they discovered, is fragile. On the 8th of January, 2010, John Bender was found dead in his bed, a single gunshot wound to the back of his head. The circumstances surrounding his death have since spiraled into a labyrinth of questions, theories, and unresolved mysteries. Was it suicide, as some believed? Or was it murder, a dark turn in a tale that seemed destined for tragedy? Today, we delve into the enigmatic life and death of John Bender, a story of ambition, love, madness, and the elusive nature of truth. John Bender was a man of contrasts. A brilliant financier with a penchant for risk, he amassed a fortune in the high-stakes world of Wall Street. Yet, despite his success, he felt a profound emptiness, a yearning for something more meaningful. Ann Patton, a woman of grace and intellect, crossed paths with John in 1998. Their connection was immediate, a shared understanding of life's complexities. Both struggled with mental health challenges, John with depression, Ann with bipolar disorder. Their bond was deep, rooted in mutual support and understanding. In 2000, seeking a fresh start, they relocated to Costa Rica. They purchased 2,000 hectares of land in the remote mountains of Pérez Zeledón, envisioning a sanctuary for themselves and endangered wildlife. Barakayan was born, a testament to their shared dream. The mansion, with its open design, was meant to harmonize with nature. Yet, as the years passed, the very openness that symbolized freedom began to feel like exposure. The isolation, combined with their personal struggles, began to take its toll. Life in the jungle was not as idyllic as they had hoped. The couple's mental health deteriorated. John became increasingly paranoid, obsessed with security, and distrustful of those around him. Ann, once vibrant, withdrew into herself, her bipolar episodes becoming more frequent and severe. Their relationship, once a source of strength, began to fray. Arguments became common, and the dream they had built together started to crumble. Yet, they remained in the jungle, unable to escape the very paradise they had created. In 2008, John faced legal troubles stemming from his past financial dealings. A lawsuit in the United States led to his brief detention, an experience that left him shaken and distrustful of authority. This event marked a significant turning point, deepening his paranoia and sense of vulnerability. On the morning of the 8th of January, 2010, Ann discovered John in their bed, unresponsive. A gunshot wound to the back of his head. She immediately contacted authorities, reporting that she had found him dead. The investigation that followed was marred by inconsistencies. The scene suggested suicide, a single gunshot wound, no signs of struggle. Yet, the angle of the wound and other evidence led some to believe it was murder. Ann was arrested and charged with her husband's death. The case became a media sensation, with public opinion divided. Was she a grieving widow, or a woman who had orchestrated her husband's demise? The legal proceedings were complex and drawn out. Ann faced multiple trials, each with its own set of challenges and outcomes. In 2013, she was acquitted due to lack of evidence. However, the prosecution appealed, and in 2014, she was convicted of murder. The conviction was overturned on appeal in 2015, and she was acquitted once more. Despite the acquittals, the case remained open. Prosecutors pursued a fourth trial, citing new evidence. The legal battles took a toll on Ann, both emotionally and financially. Her life, once filled with promise, had become a relentless cycle of courtroom dramas and public scrutiny. In the years following John's death, Ann's life continued to unravel. She faced legal challenges related to the estate, including allegations of financial mismanagement and the discovery of undocumented gems within the mansion. added yet another layer of mystery to an already convoluted story. Investigators and estate lawyers were stunned. Hidden safes, carefully concealed compartments, and even false walls revealed precious stones and jewelry whose origins were unclear. Some speculated that John Bender had been amassing these valuables secretly, perhaps as a hedge against the legal troubles and financial turbulence that had plagued him. Others wondered whether they were gifts, family heirlooms, or items collected over years of global travel, hidden for reasons that would never be fully explained. The gems, however, did not bring clarity. Instead, they fueled suspicion. If there was hidden wealth, could it have been a motive? Did someone covet it? Could this secret hoard have played a role in John Bender's death? Investigators struggled to reconcile these discoveries with the sparse physical evidence, and the unanswered questions only deepened the public's fascination with the case. For Anne, the revelation was a bitter twist. Not only was she grappling with the loss of her husband, the scrutiny of the media, and the roller coaster of legal trials, but now she faced the impossible task of explaining the unexplained wealth hidden in their home. The stress and isolation compounded her fragile mental state, leaving her further alienated from friends, family, and the world outside Barakayan. As the years went on, the mansion itself became a character in the unfolding drama. Journalists who managed to access it described rooms layered in dust and shadows, untouched by human hands for months at a time. The once pristine architecture, a testament to John and Anne's vision, had begun to decay under the tropical humidity. Plants grew unchecked, creeping into corners, overtaking terraces, and symbolically reclaiming the spaces nature always does. Barakayan was no longer just a home, it was a shrine to mystery, a silent witness to tragedy, and a puzzle box containing fragments of a life that had spiraled out of control. Legal proceedings surrounding the estate and the gems were as convoluted as the murder investigations. Questions of ownership, legality, and inheritance rights complicated what should have been straightforward estate matters. Was Anne entitled to keep all that John had amassed? Were there secret partners or undisclosed creditors waiting in the shadows? Each revelation led to new hearings, more appeals, and public speculation that refused to die down. Through it all, the world watched with a mixture of horror and fascination. The Bender case became a touchstone for discussions about wealth, mental health, and the isolation of the elite. Social media buzzed with theories, from the plausible to the absurd. Some claimed it was a well-planned murder disguised as suicide, while others believed John had staged his death for reasons no one could understand. There were whispers that foreign criminals or jealous rivals could have been involved, that the remote location of Barakayan made it the perfect crime scene, and that some secrets would never be revealed because John had taken them with him to the grave. Psychologists, criminologists, and journalists dissected the couple's life for clues. They pointed to the unique pressures of extreme wealth and isolation, the psychological strain of living in an environment removed from societal norms, and the fragile balance between genius and instability. John, brilliant yet haunted, and Anne, complex and emotionally volatile, became a case study in how ambition, love, and isolation can converge into a perfect storm. As the mansion's secrets slowly surfaced, new questions emerged about the very construction of Barakayan. Architects and engineers who studied the building noted that its design, while visionary, posed challenges to security and safety. Open terraces, massive staircases, and the absence of conventional windows or walls meant that every sound and every shadow could affect the occupant's sense of security. For John, already grappling with paranoia, these architectural choices may have been a daily source of tension, further exacerbating the mental strain that had been building for years. Despite the trials, the public continued to speculate. Some theorists suggested that John's death was a tragic accident, a misfired weapon in a moment of despair or confusion. Others claimed it was meticulously planned, that Anne had the motive, opportunity, and emotional pressure to act in ways most would never consider. Each theory carried weight in certain circles and was immediately countered by another. What remained indisputable, however, was that Barakayan had become a crucible, concentrating every aspect of human obsession, fear, and secrecy into one remote, mountainous location. Anne's own narrative was as compelling as the facts themselves. In interviews, Court testimonies and private statements leaked to the media. She painted a portrait of a loving but increasingly tormented husband. She spoke of John's brilliant mind shadowed by mental instability, of a man who oscillated between grand generosity and alarming paranoia. She admitted her own vulnerabilities, detailing periods of depression and instability that mirrored John's, creating a tense and combustible environment. The press often painted her as both victim and suspect, a duality that highlighted the tragedy of the Benders' life, two people deeply connected, yet locked in a downward spiral from which neither could escape. Journalists who investigated Barakayan after John's death described a surreal scene. Personal items lay scattered as if abandoned mid-thought. Letters and journals suggested a man constantly calculating, planning, and observing. The mansion, full of open air and sunlight, seemed paradoxically claustrophobic in its psychological impact. Isolation, wealth, and ambition collided in a way few outsiders could comprehend, producing a life story that was both enviable and terrifying. Psychological experts analyzing the case speculated that John may have been experiencing what is known as success depression, a state in which extreme wealth and achievement fail to bring satisfaction, leaving only emptiness and anxiety. When combined with the pressures of isolation and Anne's fluctuating mental health, this may have created a perfect storm that culminated in his death. The gems hidden within the mansion became symbolic of this hidden tension, beautiful, valuable, yet secret and potentially toxic. In the courtroom, Anne's defense leaned heavily on this psychological dimension. They argued that John's death was consistent with suicide, citing his history of depression, paranoia, and mental strain. Prosecution teams, however, highlighted inconsistencies and alleged motives that painted a darker picture. The tug-of-war between evidence and theory fascinated the public. It was more than a case, it became a societal reflection on wealth, mental health, and morality. Outside the courtroom, Barakayan remained a silent witness. Overgrown gardens, empty halls, and the glint of hidden gems in secret compartments created an eerie atmosphere that fueled public imagination. Tourists and journalists alike speculated on what had occurred behind those open walls. Some saw beauty, others saw danger. To some, Barakayan was a monument to human aspiration. To others, it was a mausoleum of dreams gone tragically wrong. As the years passed, John Bender's story became a cautionary tale. Documentaries, news articles, and books recounted the rise and fall of a man who had everything and yet lost it all. His death, surrounded by unanswered questions, continued to captivate audiences worldwide. People debated whether it was the isolation, the stress, the secrets, or simply fate that had led to his demise. And yet, even amid speculation, some facts remained indisputable. John Bender's life was extraordinary, a visionary, a lover of nature, a man who built a private paradise that few could imagine. Anne Bender's resilience and struggle became equally notable, surviving legal battles, public scrutiny, and personal grief in a world that often reduced her to a single narrative suspect or victim. The gems within Barakayan, once hidden, became a metaphor for the entire saga, the unseen pressures, the buried secrets, the brilliance and darkness coexisting in one space. They reminded the world that the surface of paradise could conceal unspeakable tension, and that human ambition, while magnificent, could carry unseen dangers. Today, Barakayan stands empty, a testament to dreams, love, madness, and tragedy. John Bender's death, and the life that preceded it, continues to challenge our understanding of wealth, isolation, and the human mind. It is a story that refuses simple explanation, one that lingers in memory like the mist that drifts across the Costa Rican mountaintops. In the end, the Bender story asks a question for which there is no easy answer. Can paradise ever truly exist when the human mind is burdened by its own complexities? Was John's death the result of despair, accident, or design? And will the truth ever fully emerge from the shadows of Barakayan? The world may never know. But the story of John and Anne Bender remains a haunting reminder of what can happen when ambition, love, and human frailty collide in a place that seems, at first, to be paradise. This is V Insight Views. Thank you for joining us in exploring the haunting mystery of John Bender. V Insight Views. Sharper focus. Deeper insight. Uncovering stories, revealing truths, turning headlines into understanding.